In this video, let's take this is A major, and turn it into this. Hi, I'm Joe, and thank you for stopping by and taking the time to watch these videos. I do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed down below already, please do and ring the bell. You'll be notified when the next one in this series comes out. In this series, we've been looking at two chords. We first started with major chords, and then minor chords, and now we're mixing major and minor chords together. The idea is simple. Learn these chord shapes and start practicing switching between the two chords. This video is broken down into 4 parts. In the first part, I'm going to show you the D minor and A major chord shape. Then I'm going to play you a song that I put together that uses those shapes. In the third part, I'll show you each individual guitar part that I'm playing so you can see exactly what I'm doing and you can learn those parts at home. And in the fourth section, I'm going to give you some practice tips. Let's move forward with this one. Before we get to the musical example and the practice track, let me show you the 2 chord shapes that we're going to be using. We're going to be using the D minor and A major shape. For D minor, we're going to start with the open D string. We'll put our second finger down on the 2nd fret of the G string, our 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret of the B string, and our 1st finger is going to go on the high E string on the 1st fret. And if we strum this from the 4th string down, it should sound like this. That's D minor. For A major, there's a couple of different fingerings that we can use, so I'll show you a few of them. The first one, let's do the open A string. Let's put our 2nd finger down on the 2nd fret of the D string. Let's put our 1st finger on that same fret, but on the G string right behind it. And we'll put our 3rd finger down on the 2nd fret of the B string as well. And you can also play the open E string. So it kind of looks like a little bit of a triangle, the way that your fingers are set up, but they're all across the 2nd fret. This is A major. You can also play this shape starting again with the open A, our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, our 3rd finger right behind that on the 2nd fret of the G string, and our pinky down right behind that on the B string on the 2nd fret, and the open E string. And again, we're going to strum from the 5th string down. That's another way to do that. You can take this same exact shape, but change your fingers, and do your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and your 3rd finger right behind that. And you can strum to get that A major as well. Another very common way to play the A major chord is to use a bar. And we're going to take our 1st finger and we're going to bar it across 3 of the strings. So again, we'll start with the open A, and then we'll take our 1st finger and make a straight line from the 2nd fret down. So we're going to be using our 1st finger to put pressure down on the D string, the G string, and the B string, all on the 2nd fret. So this sounds like this. Again, A major. So those are just a few shapes. Let's go ahead now and move over to the song. This song has 3 parts to it, and we're going to stay in the open position. For the first part, we're going to use the D minor shape and the A major shape here. But what I'm going to do is I'm only going to play specific notes in the chord. I'm not going to play the whole chord block. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out the D and the F for the first chord. So from our shape here, all I'm doing is I'm using the top 2 fingers. And I'm going to add a little passing note by putting my 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret of the high E string. Take that off. Back to the D. And now for the A major chord, which would be this, I'm just going to play the C sharp and then the open E. So the part goes like this slowly. Up tempo. I gave you this part so you can start seeing chords, not just as the full block shape, but also the individual notes that make up the chords. The second part of the song has two halves to it. The first half, we're just gonna play the D minor and hold it. Then we're gonna play the A major and hold that. The second time around though, we're gonna copy the first guitar part on the D minor. And when we get to the A, we're gonna answer that statement with a new line on the A chord, where we're gonna go up from the C sharp, which happens to be underneath your first finger on the second fret of the B string. Then we're gonna hit the D note and walk up to the E note, all on the B string, while we're holding down that A chord. It gives a little bit of a call and response effect. So the call was on the D minor. The answer it's kind of nice to add these parts to your song because it gives a little bit more dimension to it. You have one part that's saying something and a second part that's answering it. So up tempo. And then it just repeats. The third part adds a little bit more energy to the back end of the song. What we're gonna do is basically play power chords. We're gonna play a D and an A for the D minor, and we're gonna play an A and an E for the A major chord. And all we're doing is just holding these down. So it's 2 notes per chord. Going to the A major. Again, a very simple part, but it brings a little bit more energy to the track. So what should you practice for this one? Once you get your guitar in tune, obviously get the D minor and the A major shape underneath your fingers and start practicing switching between the two. Make sure you're always practicing to a steady beat. And again, feel free to download these tracks from my website to practice along. That's why I made them, so they're a great practice tool for you. The main thing I want to encourage you with this video is this. Start trying to find melody lines inside of your chords. If you notice when we were first playing the first part, we had that D minor, but we were adding some passing tones like the G note, and we started to pluck out a little bit of a melody that are hidden inside of these chords. Every time you go to a new chord, put other fingers down and see what kind of melodies that you can bring out of each chord. That's another video down for this series. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. If you found any value, please do me a favor, support the channel for free by subscribing down below. Hit the like icon, knock on the bell, and you'll be notified when the next video comes out in this series. Until next time, have a great day. On the second fret of the G string, our third finger down on the third fret of the Are you licking yourself in this video? Nashville, what are you doing? We can see your butt in the camera.